Adelaide is ranked 15th out of 150 electorates around the nation. I don't know about the other South Australian federal electorates, but for the NDIS, it's electorate score, I suppose. It's the Kismet Care Index, first of its kind data set measuring how effectively the NDIS functions in every electorate across the country. So Adelaide 15th on the Care Index across 150 electorates. Let's find out what that means for you. Mark Woodland, co-founder and CEO of Kismet. Mark, good morning. Firstly, how did the rest of the state, the other electorates, go?
Yeah, so Adelaide was ranked 15th. So the Care Index comprises of a utilisation rate, which is 61%, is what Adelaide came out, which is about 4% ahead of the national average. So indicating better resources to access and spend budgets, and it's ranked 31 nationally on the utilisation. And so to be able to see how you're comparing against other electorates, not just in your state but nationally, you can jump on the Care Index. It's all broken down by electorate, and you can see how each state or electorate is performing. Does it sort of mean anything, though, if you're sitting there waiting for a carer or to get the package or whatever else, delays in the system, the things that occasionally go wrong, it doesn't help you in any way other than, well, okay, I'm meant to be in a good area or not, and here I am not particularly happy with what I'm getting. Yeah, spot on. It doesn't help in that at all. And that's sort of the next stage of getting the data surfaced so we can fix some of these problems. And that goes back to better coordination of services so families can access the supports they need. I mean, innovation definitely plays a role through technology on how services are delivered and bridging some of these gaps. And so all of these things added needs to change quite quickly. Otherwise, essential supports will continue to go to waste. Do you think the government looks at this and makes decisions on packages, probably not on an individual basis, but across the country on what your research shows? Yeah, they're definitely looking. How they use that data, we're unsure, but definitely looking, definitely in conversations, which is all good signs. But there is lots of conversation happening on how to improve utilisation of services. And ultimately, really, what we really need to do is have it far more personalised so someone isn't getting a generic budget and not needing all of that budget to achieve the goals or outcomes that they want to achieve throughout the year. Oh, that's spot on, isn't it? Because surely now the government would be looking at that almost per person, saying, well, this person only used 50% of their allocation, whereas a person over there could have used 150% of their allocation. Maybe we need to shift some of that money around. Yeah, I mean, that is exactly right. And it seems so simple and so obvious to everyone looking at the NDIS, including ourselves. And so this is where technology really needs to step in so you can have that personalisation. Because right now it's quite a manual system. It's not personalised at all. The system is doing far more right than wrong, and it was set up to do these things, but we sort of lost our way through this process. But also, more importantly, there's it changes each day, but let's just call it about 650,000 people on the NDIS. There's about 4 million people with a disability in Australia that need support. So you could have more people on the system without spending more money because it is more personalised. So there's some basic things that need to be solved, which I'm a big advocate for technology doing that, so people can utilise services faster. Service gap times, is that one of the biggest problems with the NDIS at the moment that your research is showing up? Yeah, there's short answer is yes. It's different for different types of services that people need. So as an example, speech therapy is quite an in-demand service, especially for children under 5. So we know early intervention is quite key for young children. So getting them speech therapy appointments early on solves that. But the challenge is parents are waiting up to 12 months for a speech therapy appointment. Now, if your child's 4 needing a speech therapist, they're not getting that till 5, which then there's developmental delays as they start school and things like that. Another key one is occupational therapy, which is at the sort of other end of the scale, people needing these services quickly.
and then you sort of sprinkle that with cost of living and housing challenges that we have, it becomes quite dire.
Yeah, because, as good as things like the NDIS and aged care packages are, I just wonder how much the basics get lost. The things like putting in a ramp if somebody's in a wheelchair. We had Geraldine, one of our long-time listeners here, who's recently passed away, for instance. She had been trying to get a ramp into a place for a wheelchair for a long time. And this is just a basic need that somebody on a package, I think hers was aged, but whether it's aged or NDIS, just a basic need to help people. And it just takes the longest time, or the funding's not available, or it doesn't meet the criteria, or whatever. This is what it should be going to the core of.
Yeah, and I think most people would agree with that. I mean, people are happy to see taxpayer money go to those basic services that people really need. And you speak to participants all the time, and they say the same thing. I need this in my house so I can cook breakfast, because that's what I want to achieve. That's what I'm wanting to do, to get that independence. But then it sits for 6 months, 12 months to get approved and go through a process that's quite manual, and then, no super clear insight onto who's providing that service and if that service has been delivered with some actual quality. So I completely agree, and I think the population agrees with that as well.
All right, Mark, appreciate your time this morning. Well, hopefully the government does pay attention to this and make the necessary adjustments to try and help more people within the money allowed. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Mark Woodland, co-founder and CEO of Kismet.